Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lipedema Wellness Conversations with Gail. That would be me and friends. And our friend tonight is Chris Halvorson. And Chris is hailing to us today from New Hampshire, and that would be her. And that's the direction she is to me. So if she's that direction to you, then we're all backwards, and it's okay. But yeah, so I wanted to say that if we end up with some technical difficulties, my computer's struggling a little bit. Please be patient with us. We always are. Um, and make sure that you give us some hearts, you give us plenty of feedback. We love hearing who's here and where you're coming from, what your weather's like. We talk about everything and anything. So just make sure that you drop some type of a hint in the comments of where you're from and what you're up to these days. So anyways, there we go. Patsy is here from Southwest Arkansas. Hot, hot, hot. Yeah. Hi, Patsy. Yeah. Hot, hot, hot. Isn't there a song or a dance about that? Anyway, hi, Chris. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. You don't want me to sing hot, 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 but there is a song.
Yeah. You don't want me to sing it either. I don't know all the words. I only know that one. Hot, hot, hot. Anyway, so Kendra's here from Vermont. Can't wait to see you in person again, Chris Halvorson.
Hi, Kendra.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that Kendra went to your Lipedema Awareness Month circle.
The Heart to Heart Circle that we had is it April now?
It was in June, but
yeah, I'm just totally lost in time. But yes, Kendra was one of the few showing up in our small New Hampshire caucus, and we are two small states, so I let people from Vermont in, and Kendra was one of them.
You let them in.
I let them in, yeah, no charge. And Donna was there too. Donna from New Hampshire.
Oh, Donna,
who just logged in.
Hi, Donna, from New Hampshire, and then Trinda's here from Texas, 105 today, really hot. Yeah, we've been up to 110 here in Idaho, and I'm going to tell those people who live in dry areas like me. I live in the high desert. 110 is hot, but I will tell you, with humidity, 95 is hot.
Yes.
I do understand that, and so I'm looking at Trinda from Texas, and Texas has humidity as well, and they're at 105. So that's unbearable. And we always check in with the weather because we know that weather affects us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we know that when it's hot, we don't want to wear a compression, and we seem to swell more when it's hot, and we don't want to wear a compression, so it's double duty on that. So anyway, let's see. Oh, and Kendra says during the circle, the heart to heart circle, Kendra's husband came with me to New Hampshire so he could learn more. He puts better ears on for others than he does for his wife. Oh, we know.
No, it was a pleasure having him there too, Kendra. So
yeah. So, Chris, I'm going to be really honest with the audience, and I'm going to say I don't know you. Yeah, I really don't. We started hanging out a couple of months ago on a Zoom call here and there, right?
Yep.
And yeah, on the springtime heart to heart.
Yep.
And then you decided to do a heart to heart circle in June. So I want to know a little bit about you. I would love to know your journey on how you found out that you had lipedema. Just how did this all start for you?
Well, let's see. I'll give you the short version. So my job until I retired in December of last year Yay for retirement. But my last remaining job was as freelance writer, and I was writing a weekly newsletter about healthcare issues, specifically in the state of New Hampshire, but also federal healthcare issues. And it was a weekly newsletter, and it required me to read medical journals and news articles and watch some things and watch webinars. And then I would summarize them in this weekly newsletter. So because of all those sources I visited to do my job, you know how Facebook or Google delivers to you ads on the side related to what you've been searching for or visiting. And
Right.
up. So this was last April, I think. Up popped on the side that classic graphic of the legs, the stages of lipedema. And I think it was the Lipedema simplified graphic or somebody else's rendition of it. And the headline was "The Real Reason You're Not Losing Weight." So in the middle of doing my job, I went, whoa, I'm just going to go visit this ad here on the right. And the rest is history. I clicked through on whatever it was. It might have led me directly to Lipedema Simplified or some of the other big organizations. And because I'm a researcher by trade, I was off doing the research. Like that.
Yeah. Because it sparked, right? It went, whoa, this is me.
The second pair of legs were my legs.
Right.
And so it was a mixture of euphoria and total fear at that point. Clicking through going, oh, there's a reason for the last 10 years of not being able to lose weight. But here's my future legs. Or
possibly,
so I thought.
Right? Yeah.
So I thought, yeah. So that was last April. And I did the research in secret, didn't talk to anybody about it, stuffed it down, continued to not look at my legs in the mirror. And then at one point, when I was 100% certain this was my issue, I had a little mini meltdown with my husband, who was talking about something else, and I just burst into tears, and he was going, what?
Oh my gosh.
And I said, I have what I think is this embarrassing condition. And I was driving at the time. Here's a tip. Don't cry and drive at the same time. It's not recommended.
I tell the story about when I started keto in 2017, and my husband, we were talking. He goes, we're coming home from the grocery store. So I was driving, and he says, and he goes, whoa, he's going through the grocery because it was expensive. All this, and it was just expensive, right? Our grocery trip was expensive because I was buying food for the family and I was buying food for me, right? I wasn't integrating, and I was on day 3, so I was buying all this food for myself as well, so I could eat my food, as I always did with diets, my whole life dieting.
Yeah.
And he says to me, he's talking and he goes, whoa, 300 and such and such dollars. This was an expensive trip to the grocery store. And I spun and I looked at him as I'm driving down the road, and I said,
that was exactly me. Yep.
And he looks at me, goes, I thought you said you weren't having withdrawals this time. And if I would have had a pencil, he would only have one eye today. I lost it on him. I had to pull over. I was so angry at him for telling me that he thought that I had told, I'm not having withdrawals this time. And of course, he and then of course he grabs a hold of me and keeps my arms down by my side. We're outside the car, traffic going by. And he goes, you're going to be okay. Come on, take a deep breath. You're going to be okay. I am so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. That was not nice of me. I mean, he just went over and over, and he goes, "You're doing fine. You're doing fine. You'll survive this. You're doing good." Don't you tell me don't you throw my words at me. But that's the thing. But that was before I knew I had lipedema.
Yeah. Huh. So there
Right?
was more fun to come.
Yes, yes. So you saw your legs in a picture.
Yep.
And if I would have seen my legs in a picture, I probably would have thought, huh, she carries her weight the way I do.
Yep.
I would have never thought, oh, there's something wrong with because I never thought there was something wrong with my legs.
No, of course not.
I just thought I carry my weight. I tell people, oh yeah, I carry my weight behind me, so I don't have to look at it.
Exactly. Same. Yeah. Yeah, and possibly like every woman with lipedema, I surprise myself when I stand up and go, "Oh, that's the rest of me." Yeah, okay.
Long. I used to think I can sit here in the car. Nobody in that drives by me when I'm in the car knows I'm fat because
Yeah,
it's from the waist down.
yeah. So in that way, it's kind of a blessing, but
Yeah, but then I got to get out of the car,
yeah,
and I also have this going on now too, so it doesn't
yeah.
work anymore. Right? So when you found out that you had lipedema, because this is
Well,
about you, me,
yeah. Let's not say found out. Let's say researched and concluded 100% that I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, are you self-diagnosed or do you have an official diagnosis?
Yeah, so both of that, but
Okay.
I was 100% self-diagnosed, and that was April of last year. Coincidentally, I had a new primary care provider, and it was time for my annual checkup. So I walked into her office. She was new to me. I was new to her, and we chatted about the usual things, heart rate, blah blah blah. And she saw my chart there and said, "Oh, I see you've been trying to lose weight." I said, "Yep." And she said, "Well, we could put you on medications." And I said, "Fine, but here are the standards of care for lipedema that had been published, Dr. Herbst and others." I handed her the paper, and she said, "Well, I've never heard of that, but maybe you have lymphedema." And I said, "No, I have lipedema." I mean, the usual. I hear this from every woman who comes on your show, or every
Right.
person who come to the heart to heart. Every one of us has to say, "No, not lymphedema, lipedema." And so she was not that interested. Ambivalent was the word, but she knew I
Wow.
was concerned about my weight, and she actually prescribed Qsymia, which is nothing like this Wegovy and all of those. It's less expensive and less invasive, just a pill. And so I took that. Well, back to the crying in the car with my husband. When he finally understood what I was saying, he said, "We will do whatever it takes to get this done, or whatever you need to do, I'm there." So when I came home and said, "Well, the doctor wants me to do weight loss drugs," he said, "Fine, we'll do it." And they were paid out of pocket, not covered by insurance. So I did that, but still have no diagnosis. And through life crises in my own family, I had a family member who had a real healthcare crisis simultaneous to this, and I was his only caregiver, and required me to pay 100% attention to him for about 4 months. So I was taking Qsymia, lost weight, and then adopted a keto diet, which I had done previous to this, like a year and a half before that. But then did both of those things, but didn't take the official diagnosis any further until got over the healthcare crisis in my family, returned to my primary care. And I said, "So is there anything you could recommend for this condition I appear to have? Here's the paperwork." I gave it to her all again, the whole thing. And she said, "Well, we have a lymphedema massage therapist over in our physical therapy department." I said, "Let's do that." So she sent me to the physical therapist, who I walked in the door. She looked at my legs and said, "You have lipedema." And I said, "I know." So there we have a physical therapist doing the diagnosis that the primary care internist was less than interested in.
Right.
So that would have been September. And through the way the healthcare system works, the way life works, delay, delay, delay. But I ultimately began therapy with a physical therapist, doing complete decompression, and then ultimately wraps, and then ultimately getting compression garments. And that's where I am now. And she was wonderful. And the doctor continues to be less than interested. But somewhere in there, I was in the middle of the decompression therapy and discovered that Dr. Karen Herbst, who we are all familiar with, did online consultations.
Oh,
And
okay.
she was licensed in New Hampshire. Hello, that's me.
Yeah.
So my wonderful husband, who said, we're going to do whatever it takes, we paid out of pocket $500 for a consultation with Dr. Herbst. She was very thorough. Pictures, asked me every question, and I ended up with a 27-page treatment plan from her, from an online appointment with her. And that was early November. And that's where I am now, going through that treatment plan. Grateful to have found her accidentally. Because, should I shut up?
No, no.
So here in New Hampshire, we are a tiny state, tiny.
Yes.
And we are made up of tiny towns, small
Right.
towns, as Kendra will know. Kendra's even in a tinier state. We have 3 big cities. We have Dartmouth Hitchcock Medical Center, which is kind of our Mayo Clinic. But through searches and searches, because I'm a researcher, there is nobody familiar with lipedema in New Hampshire. But right over the border, not so far in Boston, we have major medical places, and I think Catherine Sayos takes advantage of that. But not all of us in rural New Hampshire and rural Vermont can take advantage of the Boston healthcare system because of insurance and distance and geography, whatever it is.
Right.
So I just felt at sea, and I believe any person in New Hampshire with lipedema would feel the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so being in these rural areas, it's a crapshoot if you're going to get any care at all.
Yeah.
But it's even in the bigger areas.
I know. Yeah.
And I mean, seriously, in the bigger areas, we don't know who's going to be able to help us either. And one of the things that when I self-diagnosed, I took the book, Lipedema, the disease they call fat for
Yep.
clinicians,
All
right?
that.
All that, and I bought a package of 5. I got a bulk rate. I didn't. I got 5 though, and I decided I was going to hand them out. I was going to hand them out to anybody who would pay attention. And I gave it to my primary care, and she said, "Well, I could say that you used to have lipedema, but you've lost some weight." And I said, "I didn't lose lipedema. I lost," and I took it to her a month in advance before my appointment.
Oh.
And right, and I gave 2 copies to the clinic. Say, share this among. Wrote a message in it. Say, share this amongst the other clinicians here. And when she says, "You want your books back?" The bindings weren't cracked.
Oh.
They'd never been opened. And
Yeah.
and I said, "No, put them on the shelves.
Yeah.
Put them on the shelves. I bought those for you guys to read." And then she goes, and then we continued, and then I said, she goes, "You want to talk about lipedema?" And I said, "Yes." And she goes, "Okay, so what do you want to talk about?" And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." And I said, "We put it in my chart." And she goes, "I don't know what stage you're at. I don't know what type." And I'm like, "Okay, fine. Just put down that I have lipedema in my chart, please."
Yes.
And she goes, "Okay." She never looked at my legs. She never touched me.
Same.
I was just like, "You've got to be kidding me." So I took my next copy to my physical therapist. she was so receptive,
Yeah.
just super receptive to it, right? And she has referred people to come to us to talk to us about it because she's recognized as she gets in there and is working on the back of somebody's knee, going, yeah, you've got these fat pads, your gait's off, So the physical therapists are going, yeah, this is what our ladies are dealing with when they can't, when when they're walking like this with their knees
Yep.
like this, right? And this is what's causing it. So my physical therapists are like all over it,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And then I found another doctor. I fired that first one. I'm like, no. And when I walked in, I gave her the book, and I actually gave her a CD of the documentary, and she was like, oh my gosh, I have other patients with this. Click, 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 right? And she comes up, "Can I feel your arms? You can touch me wherever you want. Come at it." "Oh, I didn't know that's what that would feel like." I mean, it was just like, all excitement. So
Yep.
it just depends.
And it shouldn't be that way.
No,
The
no,
the physical therapists of the world need to be able to diagnose this and be recognized for being able to
right,
diagnose this. I think
right.
there's an effort going on in that arena, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
or vein specialists, because
Yes.
people come in with these swollen ankles or this this swelling, and the
Yeah.
achy legs. And I remember when I told somebody my legs hurt, and they said, "Go get your veins checked," right?
Oh,
And so I got my veins checked, and I ended up with laser ablation,
oh,
but no mention of lipedema,
yep,
right? And
yep,
I was in my late 40s. So, I mean, I've been shaped like this for my whole adult life,
yep,
but no mention of lipedema. But then, it's been 20 years since that's happened. So
yep.
there's more out there now.
It's
Um,
it's so frustrating and so frustrating to hear the same story again and again from, as the comment section is going to show us, from all over the country. New York City,
right,
that you can't find doctors willing to understand this.
right.
I
And
know that.
it's,
Yeah.
I think that I want to, I want to call Susan up here. Um,
Susan.
Susan DeLay says, when I went to the doctor and asked if he could help treat what I thought was lipedema, he said, I can't treat something that doesn't exist. I cried, left his office, and didn't return.
As well you should have. Yes.
As what, yeah, rightfully so. And then, um, let's see. I want to talk about what Kathy says. She says, I started that way too. Nobody could tell me what it was. I've tried everything now, wrappings, pumps, massage, etc., but nothing is working. Hard to
Oh,
put shoes on easy on my right foot. Suggestions. And Kathy, I want to suggest that when you say nothing is working, I'm not sure what that means for you. Um, if it's to get the swelling down and those sorts of things, I understand that. But I don't know what you mean by "but nothing is working." So if you'll elaborate later.
yeah.
Hard to put shoes on, easy on my right foot. Any suggestions? Chris, what would you like to say about this comment from Kathy?
I'm so sorry that that's where things are with you. Yeah, we need to hear more about what you mean by not working. You still have pain. You not haven't reduced the size of your legs at all. Hard to put on shoes. Does that mean they're swollen? I mean, it may be that you've got some mixture of things going on, lipedema and lymphedema. Again, we're not doctors. We just have too much
Right,
experience. But
right,
to get somebody to tell you what's going on, try a referral to a physical therapist who does MLD.
right. Yeah, Kathy says that it's no swelling goes down. Doesn't see any improvement. And I'm going to, yeah, it looks like you've gone to someplace with the massage and the pumps and etc.
Yeah.
And so a lot of times what we find is it has to be a combination. Some people have to make drastic changes in their dietary intake. Some people, I mean, you just never know what is going to work for you. For me, I've had to start doing my own personal manual of drainage daily, and I have to stay away from all grains and sugars and soy and legumes. And I mean, the list goes on. So I pretty much I'm carnivore unless
Yeah.
I have a day like I had today where I'm like, I'm buying this little can of beans and going to eat it, and I'm going to end up, I'll pay for it tomorrow, but it was worth the little can of beans. Pain, swollen feet, and sweetie, Kathy, that sounds the swollen feet. That sounds like lymphedema, like lipolymphedema, a lot. So if you get those feet swelling, that can be that's lipedema itself doesn't usually affect the feet.
Right.
So you have some other issues going on. We've also heard that vibration plates help. Don't go willy-nilly on a vibration plate, though. A little bit goes a long ways.
Yep.
And if you have a rebounder, you can use a rebounder. Also, sometimes just a roller ball, like not a roller ball, vibration ball. Just if you can handle the vibration. Some people use vibration plates. If you've had a knee replacement, or if you have a pacemaker, so there are some contraindications for vibration plates. Now, do you use a vibration plate, Chris?
Yep. I got one of those somewhere along the line, probably a couple of months after diagnosis. I use it not a lot, but when I do it 10 minutes at a time only. I mean,
Yeah.
and I wasn't really sure why I was doing it, but somebody recently explained it's opening up your lymph system. And
Right.
then right after you do it, you should put on the compression or continue with exercise and put on compression later. But that's the point, is to open things up. And I can't prove that is what it has done. But it feels good and it's fun. But contraindications, you're so right, Gail. I have a little touch of arthritis in my upper back from a car accident long ago, and that gets irritated sometimes. So if that's irritated,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
slow.
And I've had a knee replacement, and I found that standing on the vibration plate, I'd lock my knees back.
You did what?
I would lock my knees back.
Yeah.
Right. So what I found is I sit on the side of the garden tub, and I put my feet on the vibration plate, and I put my elbows on my knees, and I hand my hands together, and here I go. It's a lot of fun, but only 5 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
And I've been using just a massage wand to open up all the junctures, where everything flows. I do a lot of belly massage. I think it really depends on what your body needs, right? So we've been doing the big 6.
Yes.
And we've been doing the big 6, and for some of us, some people can only do one or two of the first 2 or the first 3 of the big 6. And that's by Dr. Perry Nicholson, because it's overwhelming to their system because they're getting the fluid moving so well. Nancy says,
that's a good question.
Hi all. So I get PT MLD every Friday. It doesn't help. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think, but it feels good, and that in itself is help in my head, right? The compression socks help me much more. I'm afraid to get on the rebounder because my balance is poor. Should I worry? I would say if your rebounder has a bar across it, take it gently, have a spotter, step on, see if you can have your balance. You don't have to jump. All you have to do is bounce.
Jiggle.
Just,
Yeah.
just, flex those knees a little bit if you can. It's all it takes. Our lymph system's amazing. It likes motion. I always think if you have to have that stretch in your hand. And so that's moving lymph right there. Not much. It's all moving lymph. So Patsy says she can't stand on the vibration plate. She sits and knits and vibrates. I love that. I love that. I would be going, eh. I have the knitting needle stuck on me somewhere. Another one says, I have to do very low sodium. It's ankles and calves swelling with me. Eating low carb has helped, but it has taken over a year to see any help. Lots of physical therapy.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. What about the pool? Can you get in and out of a pool? What do you do the pool ever, Chris?
I used to be quite the water aerobics person. I was very active until COVID hit. I did everything, Zumba and pool and blah, blah, blah. And I just recently got able to return to a pool with summer here. There's a community pool that opened up. There was one in a fitness center that closed, and that was really sad. So as long as it's warm outside, I have been in the pool doing standing up exercises. It makes me feel good. It hasn't changed the size of my legs, but it makes things feel good. And I put my compression on right after that. I've done all the therapies except rebounding. I think it's just the only one I haven't attempted yet, and that's coming. I think it's just all good. All movement is good. I think. Love how I feel after. I'm just adding to my regimen. I'm adding. I have a lot of issues with fibrosis, and I kind of had that before I understood what lipedema was. I had scar tissue building up in a calf and locked up hips for a while before I knew what was going on. So now that I understand what it is, and I've lost weight because of keto and this drug that I was taking, now I can feel these nodules everywhere and the knots and the adhesions. And so that's my primary focus at this point, is taking care of those nodules and making sure they don't lock me up and destroy my mobility.
Right. Because, the mobility, I think that's what so many of us, we struggle with.
Yeah.
And it's just like Kendra says here, what can I do to improve balance? Kendra, you have such a wonderful sense of humor. I misstepped and tested gravity. Yep. Last week. It still exists. Yes, we still have gravity. I landed, oh, honey, on hard on my hands and my one knee. And I would say, Kendra, if you have a physical therapist, go to a physical therapist. If you need referral, get a referral to a physical therapist for gait or core strength work. Our stability and our balance is all dependent on our core strength. It really is. Water aerobics. They do a lot of work with, and then you don't have to worry about testing gravity in a pool. If you can get into a pool where they have water aerobics, they do. It's a lot about core strength in water aerobics. And physical therapist can help you with engaging that core, engaging the core, and that really helps.
Absolutely. Kendra, can I barge in here? On the matter of balance, I teach strength training classes to women with osteoporosis, which I also have, but I was trained to teach strength training to women so that they build up their core and build up their strength, so that if they fall with these brittle bones, they're not breaking bones. That's the idea anyway.
Right.
Included in that program are balance strengthening moves. You can improve your balance by doing some of these exercises. You just search the internet for balance training and you'll find a lot of moves.
And do you find that a lot of it has to do with your feet?
Yeah, yeah, and paying
Yeah.
attention to where your feet are, and,
Right.
and it's
Strength.
your balance is absolutely trainable. I
Yeah.
mean, if you start doing moves that challenge it, walking in a straight line with your feet heel to toe, um, it's horrible to do, and you are training your body what to do in case you're gonna fall.
Hmm. I
Yeah.
remember when I got my knee replaced, I started waddling,
Yep.
right? And my physical therapist said, you've got to walk like this. This is all it's doing, and you're going to end up losing your balance. You're going to end up your hip flexors, everything's going to get all wackadoo. And so what he had me do was he had me take 2 steps backwards. So
Yep.
holding my hands, I had to, and because you can't waddle going backwards. You
Good to
can't.
know.
I tried because he's like, and because you reach back with your toe and you, right. So walking backwards, he held my hands 2 steps backwards and then I would straighten me out going forwards. And so every time I'd feel myself start to waddle, I'd have my husband come hold my hands and say, I need to take a couple of steps going backwards so that so I had to retrain my gait.
Yep.
And it was wonderful. I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to promote our upcoming webinar right now. I just want everybody to know we have an upcoming webinar with Dr. Leslyn Keith. And it's on, it's not this Thursday, it's the next Thursday. It's at 6:00 p.m. at um, Eastern, 6:00 p.m. Eastern. Anyway, in not this week, next week. Um, it's called Optimal Treatments for Lipedema, and she's going to talk about some of the stuff that we do, the physical treatments, and things that your physical therapist can help you with, and your massage therapist, and all these different treatments that we do. She's going to talk about that, and so it's going to be signing up for it. I dropped the link in the comments. Please, if you register for any of our free webinars, you will get a replay. Even if you can't be there, register for it. So, and it's free. So might as well do it.
Who's argue? Yeah.
Okay. So somebody has a question for me. I'll pull it up. It says, did you find that having lipedema and having a knee replacement caused you to heal slower? No. One word answer. No. First of all, Elena, I had my knee replacement before I knew I had lipedema. I had to get my veins done, and after I got my veins done, I realized I still have pain in the knees, and I went to an orthopedic specialist. I was heavy. I was 270, between 270 and 300 pounds, somewhere in there. I had a very progressive thinking, new school thinking specialist, orthopedic specialist. He actually is one who has developed the woman's knee. So he was actually, it was on the team of so many top orthopedics pedic specialists who were designing knees. I got it when I was 45 years old. I'm 64. I've had no problems with this knee. My healing was not slower, but I was young. And granted, I was young, you know. But he's like, I had no meniscus left. I had my kneecap. Now, this is what happened with my kneecap, my patella. My IT band constantly, everything was pulling my patella, my kneecap sideways, and there was a groove in there now, and he had to resurface my kneecap, resurfaced it because I had no. It was paper. It was like paper thin. He almost had to replace it, but he was able to resurface that. So my knee was pretty much a mess. He believes it was due to the lipedema and my gait is what was causing the issue with my knee. So he said, we've got to get your gait straightened out. And we've got, with this new knee, keep your gait straightened out. And so, but when I've looked back at it, because he was like, see this, he didn't have the term lipedema.
Yeah.
He had the term, see this fat pad and see this fat, see these fat pads? See how your hips move? So you need to work on your gait to keep this knee healthy. And that was way before I knew I had lipedema, but I had the weight. I had the heavy legs. I had it up, but no, I didn't. It didn't slow my healing down any. It didn't have anything to do with that. But they do, they want you under a certain BMI now before they'll do surgery. And so you have to find the orthopedic specialist who'll say, "Oh, I see you have no I see you have bone on bone. Let's take care of this right now." Right? Because otherwise you're just not gonna have any quality of life. So, yeah. Um, so when I want to talk about another thing that you brought up, because Kendra, right? You met Kendra.
Yep, just once.
Tell me about, okay, so you went to, when you found Lipedema Simplified, that was in April of this year?
No, I mean, the original ad that led me there was April of last year.
Of last year.
Yeah,
And
then
then
there was a lurker on everything you guys were doing.
yeah. Oh, you're a lurker. You're one of those. Yeah.
Until the April conference this year, and I signed up.
Uh-huh.
And I
so
was skeptical.
you signed up you were skeptical.
Yeah, I said, how fun, how helpful could an online conference be? And within an hour, I was saying, how do I sign up for Tribe?
Oh.
It was so helpful, and I couldn't tear myself away from my laptop. And I was just shocked at how wonderful that conference was.
So you went to the Heart to Heart in
Yep.
April.
Yep. And I've been doing keto. I've lost 40 pounds because of keto. I am a keto convert, and the theme of that one, right, this past April was keto. And I
Keto,
said,
yeah.
this has been so successful. I want to learn more. I want to learn more.
Right.
And it was just such a fantastic experience. I had to figure out how else could I be involved with this organization.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So you went to that Heart to Heart. We're having another Heart to Heart. Our spring one is always on nutrition, and our fall one, which is September this year, is multimodality. So it's all about self-care. We still have a sign up. We still have an early bird going on.
Yay.
I know it's pretty amazing because it's a 3-day conference, virtual conference. Like you say, what can you get out of a virtual conference, right? We have it for $97 still. That's the early bird. I don't know when the early bird's going to end. But what can you tell me? What was it, Chris, that made you go, this is different? What was it?
Well, let's see, backing up a little bit. I had a business, pardon me, of teaching businesses how to use social media. That was my own. Sorry, I've had a cold in my throat. I ran my own business, helping businesses learn how to do social media when social media was new.
Mm-hmm.
I advised them how to make a Facebook page and how to look well on video and all of that. Anyway, and that led me to a lot of business conferences that live in person were really bad. And then when COVID hit, I started attending lots of them, online conferences, and they were really bad. But on the first day of the Heart to Heart, I think it was somehow, and it might be the warmth of you all, Gail and Leslyn and Siobhan and Kathryn, somehow you had managed to connect emotionally with this virtual audience. And I can't put my finger on what it was, but it was an emotional connection that happened almost immediately.
It was Lisa.
And the way you and Lisa too. Yeah, absolutely. She was wonderful. Yeah. Wasn't that her first conference? She was great.
It was her first conference of. No, she had done one in last fall, but this was the first one that she helped plan. Yes.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
And my other thought is, they used to say, if you learn one new thing at a conference, you've probably done all right. And I filled a notebook on the first day. It was just so chock full of things I didn't know, wonderful people, sources to look up afterwards, books to read, people to meet.
Yeah. And
All of
so did you like the breakout rooms?
I did and participated in them. And those two, I thought, well, how good could that be? A bunch of people talking to each other on a screen, and it worked. It just worked
Yeah.
because of the coaches you had and whatever. So that's
Yeah.
what led me to wanting to afterwards, when it was Lipedema Awareness Month, that's what led me to want to host something in little old New Hampshire and see if I could find some more people who need to know about Lipedema Simplified.
So how many people came to your heart to heart circle?
Well, counting Kendra's husband, I think it was only 5.
Okay.
That's 10% of our population. No, I'm kidding. We're a small state.
You're cute.
I think it was 5, wasn't it, Kendra? And sorry. We agreed that we want to get together and meet in person with some regularity. So we've already scheduled September 21st as our next one.
Oh,
I have access to a meeting space that's smack in the middle of our long, narrow state, and it should be helpful for people to get to. If I can put in a pitch, September 21st, write me if you need to.
Yeah, if you need to get a hold of Chris, just send an email to me.
Yeah.
Or go to Lipedema Simplified and find us. I'm going to put my email in there. That way you won't, and you can write to me and I'll get you in touch with Chris. So you guys are planning in New Hampshire. You're planning on having a another gathering on September 21st.
In Bedford.
In Bedford, New Hampshire.
Yes.
So I'm Gail at lipedema-simplified.org. If you want to get a hold of Chris, if you want to go to her gathering, Chris, that's wonderful.
Well, we just, I think we talked about it at our gathering. You know, we all see those other women in the grocery store and at the swimming pool, and we want to go up to them and say, "Psst, have you heard about this thing?" And we all agreed that's probably not appropriate. But so
it's not. It's not.
So we haven't. Even today, my waitress at the restaurant definitely had lipedema, and I didn't say a thing. But we want to build awareness. That was the point of June, right? And in New Hampshire, with our lack of resources, I want to do all we can to find those people who have struggled for years. I'm 65, by the way, and so I found this out when I was 64, that this was my issue in life, and that should not happen to everybody.
Isn't it amazing the how this turns into a passion?
Yeah.
I thought I was done with passion.
I thought I retired from passion. Yes.
I thought I had retired from having a passion. And yeah, because I was 59 when I Kathryn. When Kathryn called me, because I had said, "Yeah, I want to talk to somebody," and Kathryn called me. I was 59, and it hasn't stopped. You know, it just keeps going.
Yeah.
So you know, we have postcards for both the clinicians and the patient, and it's in Emmy's musings, Emmy's Box of Hope, and Emmy's Box of Hope is a gift that our community has made for our community. It's a gift, and you can go in and you can actually. I'm going to put the link in the comments. You can click on this, and it gives you free resources. But these postcards, and this is one of the things that I do. I had them printed off.
Yeah.
And I carry them in my car. And I go to my husband's had open heart surgery, and so we go to his cardiologist, and I leave these postcards laying around on those side tables. So the person or those little pamphlet holders. I just stick them in there, right? Because people are sitting there waiting for their spouse, and they walk over and they go, "Oh, what is this?" Oh, I don't know who I've helped. I don't know if I've helped anybody, but I have also I've laid them. I've left them on not receptionists, office managers' desks
Yay.
in clinics, who I've seen them walk through, and I'm going, "Oh yeah, she's got lipedema." So as I leave, I just scoot them along, so because they've got the picture of their legs, right? And I'm like, I've got to at least let them know that they're not alone, that I'm here too, and everybody's here. And I just slide them. So I don't know. I do not know if anybody ever picks them up and going, "Well, what? Someone calling me fat?" Or if they're going, "Oh, that's my sister.
Yeah. Or
You
those are
know,
my,
those are my legs. My
yeah.
family shaped like this." So yeah. So anyway, Chris, we've been together for 51 minutes. We still don't know anything about each other, except that we both have lymphedema. We like to talk. Um,
I'm
so
60.
I'm 64. I'll be 64 next week, or in a couple weeks, and so we're like a year apart, and we've been dealing with these legs forever. But I have it in my arms as well. Do you have it in your arms as well?
I don't think so. Dr. Herbst didn't think so, but I have an inkling it might be beginning.
Oh,
I'm not sure.
yeah. See, that's where I feel most of my pain is in my arms now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
because
for the
I've got the you can see the nodules in the
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
here.
yeah.
Yeah.
And people always ask, well, is this genetic? Did other women in your family have this? And sadly, I lost my mother before I was, well, I was only 32 and wasn't paying attention to anybody but me until that time. So, but I know her legs did not have it. But when you do that, I'm going, those are my mother's arms. And I think I have a grandmother that had it as well. I keep meaning to look up old photographs.
Yeah.
It's just neither here nor there. But what I feel today versus what I felt when I figured this out today, and what I feel is hope, that I've stopped it, or I can deal with whatever comes because I've found other people.
There you go, right? You're not alone in it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we just got done with book club, and it was The Body Keeps the Score.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, tough book. But it talks about how you build a family, whether it's an internal family system, some family system, and that's what the tribe does. That's what
Yeah.
the community does, because we're busy sharing with each other, loving each other, caring for each other, supporting each other, and building a new narrative for ourselves. And instead of the isolation. And so, when we talk about the arms, I was in my late 30s, early 40s, and I reached out of a classroom into the hall, because I was a teacher, middle school math teacher, and I reached like out to grab somebody who was walking by, and somebody down the hall. I wasn't even in my own classroom. I was in a different classroom, and I reached out to grab one of the kids, and somebody down the hall said, "Mrs. Straker," and I said, "How did they know that was me?"
Yep.
Because I did not poke my face out. It was just my arm, right? And a person down the hall yelled at me, knew it was my arm. And so I asked him, I said, "How did you know
Yeah.
I was the one in that classroom?" Because I was in a different area of the school. And he goes, "You're the only person I've ever known with arms like that." And I was like, like what? Right? And I wasn't sure. He goes, well, you've got that big lump. And I had this,
Yeah.
and it's
Thanks.
in there. I was in my late 30s. I've had that. So I've had quote unquote grandma arms or angel wings since, since I was in my 20s.
Yep.
My arm has been shaped like this. So, we got them. We've got them.
Yep. There
Not
you
all
go.
of us, but a lot of us have them. A
Yeah,
lot of us.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
like the
Chris,
wings
yeah, someone
better.
someone someone called them angel wings, and I think, have you seen Moana?
No.
You've never seen Moana?
What is that?
Oh, Moana is a Disney movie,
Oh,
Disney
one of
cartoon
those
movie.
princesses. Yes.
Yes, and Moana's grandmother. She's out there doing like a hula. She's moving and she's dancing on the beach, and she has the shape of a stingray is on her back, right? So she's built like a stingray. So she's got the wings, she's got the arms. And when I see her move, I think, oh, look at my mom. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that's me. Because I got them. So
Oh,
um,
that's
it's beautiful to see myself in places like that.
yeah.
You know, there's this grandmother. We think grandmothers have these big, warm, soft bodies. Well, at least in my family, they do. Anyway, um, so it- I usually end my show by asking my guest if there was one message that they would like to see echoed around the world, what would it be?
Oh, gee.
And I always forget to tell people at the beginning that that's what I'm going to ask. So I'm putting you on the spot.
If I had one message to give to women with lipedema,
Oh, for the whole
right?
world.
For the
It
whole
doesn't,
world.
whatever. Give it around the world.
Good
It,
heavens.
it could be for people with lipedema. It could be for just the whole world.
The whole world. I mean, I'll shoot it for people with lipedema. If you think you have it, figure it out, and then realize you're not alone and find your tribe.
Yeah.
Always find your tribe.
Always find your tribe. Oh,
Exactly.
Chris, thank you so much. And with that, I hope everybody has a wonderful evening. Chris, thank you so much for coming on with me tonight. If you'll stay with me until after I close out, I'd appreciate it. I have some guests who just, as soon as I say thanks for being here, they click off, and I'm like, boop.
Oh, thank you, Gail. And I'm sorry our co-guest didn't show up, but here I am.
Well, that's okay. We're good, right? We're here together, and that's where we belong.
Come
So,
to New Hampshire.
yeah. And remember, if you think you have lipedema, you probably do. Figure it out. Go get some help. And don't forget to contact us if you need our help too. With that, have a great night, everybody.